City Deadhouse by Walt Whitman. Read for Librivox.org by Alan Davis Drake. By the city deadhouse, by the gate, as idly sauntering went my way from the clangor, I curious pause, for lo, an outcast form, a poor dead prostitute brought. Her corpse they deposit unclaimed, it lies on the damp brick pavement. The divine woman, her body. I see the body, I look at it alone. That house once full of passion and beauty, all else I notice not, nor stillness so cold, nor running water from faucets, nor odors more biffic impress me. But the house alone, that wondrous house, that delicate fair house, that ruin, that immortal house, more than all the rows of dwellings ever built, or white-domed capitol with majestic figure surmounted, or all the old high-spired cathedrals. That little house alone more than them all, poor desperate house, fair fearful wreck, tenement of a soul, itself a soul. Unclaimed avoided house, take one breath from my tremulous lips. Take one tear dropped aside as I go for thought of you. Dead house of love, house of madness and sin, crumbled, crushed, house of life, erewhile talking and laughing, but ah, poor house, dead even then. Months, years, an echoing garnished house, but dead, dead, dead. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The following poem is recorded for Librivox.org by Shona Brogdon Sturble. During Wind and Rain by Thomas Hardy. They sing their dearest songs, he, she, all of them, yea, treble and tenor and bass, and one to play, with the candles mooning each face. Ah, no, the years, oh, how the sick leaves reel down in throngs. They clear the creeping moss, elders and juniors, aye, making the pathways neat and the garden gay, and they build a shady seat. Ah, no, the years, see the white storm birds wing across. They are blithely breakfasting all, men and maidens, yea, under the summer tree, with a glimpse of the bay, while pet fowl come to the knee. Ah, no, the years, oh, and the rotten rose is ripped from the wall. They change to a high new house, he, she, all of them, aye, clocks and carpets and chairs on the lawn all day, and brightest things that are theirs. Ah, no, the years, down their carved names the raindrop plows. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
How Pleasant to Know Mr. Lear, a poem by Edward Lear. How pleasant to know Mr. Lear, who has written such volumes of stuff. Some think him ill-tempered and queer, but a few find him pleasant enough. His mind is concrete and fastidious, his nose is remarkably big, his visage is more or less hideous, his beard it resembles a wig. He has ears and 2 eyes and 10 fingers, Leastways, if you reckon 2 thumbs, he used to be one of the singers, but now he is one of the dumbs. He sits in a beautiful parlour, with hundreds of books on the wall. He drinks a great deal of masala, but never gets tipsy at all. He has many friends, laymen and clerical. Old Foss is the name of his cat. His body is perfectly spherical. He weareth a runcible hat. When he walks in waterproof white, the children run after him so, calling out, "He's gone out in his night gown, that crazy old Englishman, oh!" He weeps by the side of the ocean, he weeps on the top of the hill. He purchases pancakes and lotion, and chocolate shrimps from the mill. He reads, but he does not speak Spanish. He cannot abide ginger beer. Ere the days of his pilgrimage vanish, how pleasant to know Mr. Lear. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Human Seasons by John Keats. Read for Librivox.org by Anne Cheng. 4 seasons fill the measure of the year. There are 4 seasons in the mind of man. He has his lusty spring, when fancy clear takes in all beauty with an easy span. He has his summer, when luxuriously spring's honeyed cud of youthful thought he loves to ruminate, and by such dreaming nigh his nearest unto heaven. Quiet coves his soul has in its autumn, when his wings he furleth close, contented so to look on mists in idleness, to let fair things pass by unheeded as a threshold brook. He has his winter too of pale misfeature, or else he would forego his mortal nature. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
London Snow by Robert Bridges. Read for Librivox.org by Ruth Golding. When men were all asleep, the snow came flying in large white flakes falling on the city brown, stealthily and perpetually settling and loosely lying, hushing the latest traffic of the drowsy town, deadening, muffling, stifling its murmurs failing, lazily and incessantly floating down and down, silently sifting and veiling road roof and railing, hiding difference, making unevenness even, into angles and crevices softly drifting and sailing. All night it fell, and when full inches 7 it lay in the depths of its uncompacted lightness, the clouds blew off from a high and frosty heaven, and all woke earlier for the unaccustomed brightness of the winter dawning, the strange unheavenly glare. The eye marvelled, marvelled at the dazzling whiteness. The ear hearkened to the stillness of the solemn air. No sound of wheel rumbling, nor of foot falling, and the busy morning cries came thin and spare. Then boys I heard as they went to school calling. They gathered up the crystal manna to freeze their tongues with tasting, their hands with snowballing, or rioted in a drift plunging up to the knees, or peering up from under the white mossed wonder. "Oh, look at the trees!" they cried. "Oh, look at the trees!" With lessened load a few carts creak and blunder, following along the white deserted way, a country company long dispersed asunder. When now already the sun, in pale display, standing by Paul's high dome, spread forth below his sparkling beams, and awoke the stir of the day. For now doors open, and war is waged with the snow, and trains of sombre men, past tale of number, tread long brown paths, as toward their toil they go. But even for them awhile No cares encumber their minds diverted, the daily word is unspoken, the daily thoughts of labour and sorrow slumber at the sight of the beauty that greets them, for the charm they have broken. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Love by George Herbert. Read for Librivox.org by Michael Dowling. Love bade me welcome, yet my soul drew back, guilty of dust and sin. But quick-eyed love, observing me grow slack, from my first entrance in, drew nearer to me, sweetly questioning if I lacked anything. A guest, I answered, worthy to be here. Love said, you shall be he. I, the unkind, ungrateful? Ah, my dear, I cannot look on thee. Love took my hand, and smiling did reply, who made the eyes but I? Truth, Lord, but I have marred them, let my shame go where it doth deserve. And know you not, says Love, who bore the blame? My dear, then I will serve. You must sit down, says Love, and taste my meat. So I did sit and eat. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Mary, a ballad by Robert Southey. Read for Librivox.org by Ernst Patinama. Amsterdam, the Netherlands, July 27, 2008. Who is she, the poor maniac, whose widely fixed eyes seem a heart overcharged to express? She weeps not, yet often and deeply she sighs. She never complains, but her silence implies the composure of settled distress. No aid, no compassion the maniac will seek. Cold and hunger awake not her care. Through her rags do the winds of the winter blow bleak on her poor withered bosom half bare, and her cheek has a deathly pale hue of despair. Yet cheerful and happy, nor distant the day poor Mary the maniac has been. The traveller remembers who journeyed this way, no damsel so lovely, no damsel so gay as Mary, the maid of the inn. Her cheerful address filled the guests with delight, as she welcomed them in with a smile. Her heart was a stranger to childish affright, and Mary would walk by the abbey at night, when the wind whistled down the dark aisle. She loved, and young Richard had settled the day, and she hoped to be happy for life. But Richard was idle and worthless, and they who knew him would pity poor Mary, and say that she was too good for his wife. 'Twas in autumn, and stormy and dark was the night, and fast were the windows and door. Two guests sat enjoying the fire that burned bright, and smoking in silence with tranquil delight, they listened to hear the wind roar. "'Tis pleasant," cried one, seated by the fireside, "to hear the wind whistle without." "A fine night for the abbey," his comrade replied. "Methinks a man's courage would now be well tried, who should wander the ruins about. I myself, like a schoolboy, should tremble to hear the hoarse ivy shake over my head, and could fancy I saw, half persuaded by fear, some ugly old abbot's white spirit appear, for this wind might awaken the dead." "I'll wager a dinner," the other one cried, "that Mary would venture there now." "Then wager and lose," with a sneer he replied. "I'll warrant she'd fancy a ghost by her side, and faint if she saw a white cow." "Will Mary this charge on her courage allow?" his companion exclaimed with a smile. "I shall win, for I know she will venture there now, and earn a new bonnet by bringing a bough from the elder that grows in the aisle." With fearless good humour did Mary comply, and her way to the abbey she bent. The night it was dark, and the wind it was high, and as hollowly howling it swept through the sky, she shivered with cold as she went. O'er the path so well known still proceeded the maid, where the abbey rose dim on the sight. Through the gateway she entered. She felt not afraid, yet the ruins were lonely and wild, and their shade seemed to deepen the gloom of the night. All around her was silent, save when the rude blast howled dismally round the old pile. Over wheat-covered fragments still fearless she passed, and arrived in the innermost ruin at last, where the elder tree grew in the aisle. Well pleased did she reach it, and quickly drew near, and hastily gathered a bough, when the sound of a voice seemed to rise on her ear. She paused, and she listened, all eager to hear, and her heart panted fearfully now. The wind blew, the hoar's ivy shook over her head. She listened, naught else could she hear. The wind ceased, her heart sunk in her bosom with dread, for she heard in the ruins distinctly the tread of footsteps approaching her near. Behind the white column, half breathless with fear, she crept to conceal herself there. That instant the moon o'er a dark cloud shone clear, and she saw in the moonlight two ruffians appear, and between them a corpse did they bear. Then Mary could feel her heart blood curdle cold. Again the rough wind hurried by. It blew off the hat of the one, and behold, even close to the feet of poor Mary it rolled. She felt, and expected to die. "Curse the hat!" he exclaims. "Nay, come on, and first tie the dead body," his comrade replies. She beheld them in safety pass on by her side. She seizes the hat, fear her courage supplied, and fast through the abbey she flies. She ran with wide speed, she rushed in at the door, and gazed horribly eager around. Then her limbs could support the faint burthen no more, and exhausted and breathless she sunk on the floor, unable to utter a sound. Ere yet her pale lips could the story impart, for a moment the hat met her view. Her eyes from that object convulsively start, for, O God, what cold horror then thrilled through her heart, when the name of her Richard she knew. Where the old abbey stands, on the common hard by, his gibbet is now to be seen. Not far from the road it engages the eye. The traveller beholds it, and thinks with a sigh of poor Mary, the maid of the inn. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Much Madness is Divinest Sense by Emily Dickinson. Read for Librivox.org. Much madness is divinest sense to a discerning eye, much sense the starkest madness. 'Tis the majority in this, as all prevails. Assent, and you are sane. Demur, you're straightway dangerous, and handled with a chain. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Read by Alan Davis Drake.
There Be None of Beauty's Daughters by Lord Byron. Read for Librivox.org by Robert Hespy. There be none of beauty's daughters with a magic like thee, and like music on the waters is thy sweet voice to me, when, as if its sound were causing the charmed ocean's pausing, the waves lie still and gleaming, and the lulled winds seem dreaming. And the midnight moon is weaving her bright chain o'er the deep, whose breast is gently heaving as an infant's asleep. So the spirit bows before thee to listen and adore thee, with a full but soft emotion, like the swell of summer's ocean. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Our Little House by Thomas Walsh. Read for Librivox by Selpin. Our little house upon the hill in winter time is strangely still. The roof tree, bare of leaves, stands high, a candelabrum for the sky, and down below the lamplights glow. and ours makes answer o'er the snow. Our little house upon the hill, in summer-time strange voices fill, with ceaseless rustle of the leaves, and birds that twitter in the eaves, and all the vines entangled so, the village lights no longer show. Our little house upon the hill is just the house of Jack and Jill, and whether showing or unseen, hid behind its leafy screen, there's a star that points it out when the lamplights are in doubt. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The following poem is read for Librivox.org by Shona Brogdon-Sturble. Piano, D.H. Lawrence. Softly, in the dusk, a woman is singing to me, taking me back down the vista of years, till I see a child sitting under the piano, in the boom of the tingling strings, and pressing the small, poised feet of a mother who smiles as she sings. In spite of myself, the insidious mastery of song betrays me back, till the heart of me weeps to belong to the old Sunday evenings at home, with winter outside, and hymns in the cozy parlor, the tinkling piano our guide. So now it is vain for the singer to burst into clamor with the great black piano appassionato. The glamour of childish days is upon me. My manhood is cast down in the flood of remembrance. I weep like a child for the past. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Remember, Sonnet by Christina G. Rossetti. Read for Librivox.org by Carolyn Francis. Remember me when I am gone away, gone far away into that silent land, when you can no more hold me by the hand, nor I, half turn to go, yet turning stay. Remember me when no more, day by day, you tell me of our future that you planned. Only remember me. You understand, it will be late to counsel then or pray. Yet, if you should forget me for a while, and afterwards remember, do not grieve, for if the darkness and corruption leave a vestige of the thoughts that once I had, better by far you should forget and smile, than that you should remember and be sad. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Smuggler's Song from Puck of Pook's Hill by Rudyard Kipling. Read for Librivox.org by Ruth Golding. If you wake at midnight and hear a horse's feet, don't go drawing back the blind or looking in the street. Them that asks no questions isn't told a lie. Watch the wall, my darling, while the gentlemen go by. 25 ponies trotting through the dark, brandy for the parson, baccy for the clerk, laces for a lady, letters for a spy, and watch the wall, my darling, while the gentlemen go by. Running round the wood-lump, if you chance to find little barrels roped and tarred, all full of brandy wine, don't you shout to come and look, nor take 'em for your play. Put the brishwood back again, and they'll be gone next day. If you see the stable door setting open wide, if you see a tired horse lying down inside, if your mother mends a coat cut about and tore, if the lining's wet and warm, don't you ask no more. If you meet King George's men dressed in blue and red, you be careful what you say, and mindful what is said. If they call you pretty maid, and chuck you 'neath the chin, don't you tell where no one is, nor yet where no one's been. Knocks and footsteps round the house, whistles after dark, you've no call for running out till the house dogs bark. Trusty's here, and Pincher's here, and see how dumb they lie. They don't fret to follow when the gentlemen go by. If you do as you've been told, likely there's a chance you'll be give a dainty doll, all the way from France, with a cap of Valenciennes and a velvet hood, a present from the gentleman along a being good. 25 ponies trotting through the dark, brandy for the parson, baccy for the clerk. Them that asks no questions isn't told a lie. Watch the wall, my darling, while the gentlemen go by. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Sonnet to a Nightingale by Charlotte Smith. Read for Librivox.org by Finn Jameson. July 28th, 2008. Poor melancholy bird, that all night long tells to the moon thy tale of tender woe. From what said cause can such sweet sorrow flow, and whence this mournful melody of song? Thy poet's musing fancy would translate what mean the sounds that swell thy little breast, when still at dewy eve thou leav'st thy nest, thus to the listening night to sing thy fate. Pale sorrow's victims wert thou once among, though now released in woodlands wild to rove, or hast thou felt from friends some cruel wrong, or diest thou, martyr of some disastrous love? Ah, songstress sad, that such my lot might be, to sigh and sing at liberty, like thee. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Telling the Bees, John Greenleaf Whittier. Recorded for Librivox.org by Abed. Here is the place. Right over the hill runs the path I took. You can see the gap in the old wall still, and the stepping stones in the shallow brook. There is the house, with the gate red barred, and the poplars tall, and the barn's brown length, and the cattle yard, and the white horns tossing above the wall. There are the beehives ranged in the sun, and down by the brink of the brook are her poor flowers, weed or run, pansy and daffodil, rose and pink. A year has gone, as the tortoise goes, heavy and slow, and the same rose blows, and the same sun glows, and the same brook sings of a year ago. There's the same sweet clover smell in the breeze, and the June sun warm tangles his wings of fire in the trees, setting as then over Fernside Farm. I mind me how, with a lover's care, from my Sunday coat I brushed off the burrs and smoothed my hair, and cooled at the brookside my brow and throat. Since we parted, a month had passed, to love a year. Down through the beeches I looked at last on the little red gate and the well sweep near. I can see it all now, the slantwise rain of light through the leaves, the sundown's blaze on her window pane, the bloom of her roses under the eaves. Just the same as a month before, the house and the trees, the barn's brown gable, the vine by the door. Nothing changed but the hives of bees. Before them, under the garden wall, forward and back, went drearily singing the chore girl small, draping each hive with a shred of black. Trembling, I listened. The summer sun had the chill of snow, for I knew she was telling the bees of one, gone on the journey we all must go. Then I said to myself, my Mary weeps for the dead today. Haply her blind old grandsire sleeps, the fret and the pain of his age away. But her dog whined low on the doorway sill. With his cane to his chin the old man sat, and the chore girl still sung to the bees stealing out and in. And the song she was singing ever since in my ear sounds on. Stay at home, pretty bees, fly not hence. Mistress Mary is dead and gone. End of recording. This is a Librivox recording. All Librivox recordings are in the public domain.
The Day is Done by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Recorded for Librivox.org by Abid. The day is done. The day is done, and the darkness falls from the wings of night, as a feather is wafted downward from an eagle in his flight. I see the lights of the village gleam through the rain and the mist, and a feeling of sadness comes o'er me that my soul cannot resist. A feeling of sadness and longing that is not akin to pain, and resembles sorrow only, as the mist resembles the rain. Come, read to me some poem, some simple and heartfelt lay, that shall soothe this restless feeling, and banish the thoughts of day. Not from the grand old masters, not from the bards sublime, whose distant footsteps echo through the corridors of time. For, like strains of martial music, their mighty thoughts suggest life's endless toil and endeavor, and tonight I long for rest. Read from some humbler poet, whose songs gushed from his heart as showers from the clouds of summer, or tears from the eyelids start, who through long days of labor and nights devoid of ease still heard in his soul the music of wonderful melodies. Such songs have power to quiet the restless pulse of care, and come like the benediction that follows after prayer. Then read from the treasured volume the poem of thy choice, and lend to the rhyme of the poet the beauty of thy voice. And the night shall be filled with music, and the cares that infest the day shall fold their tents like the Arabs, and as silently steal away. End of recording. This is a Librivox recording. All Librivox recordings are in the public domain.
The first 6 verses of the 90th Psalm versified, by Robert Burns. Read for Librivox.org by David Lawrence, Brampton, Ontario, July 26th. O thou, the first, the greatest friend of all the human race, whose strong right hand has ever been thy stay and dwelling place. Before the mountains heaved their heads beneath thy forming hand, before this ponderous globe itself arose at thy command, that power which raised and still upholds this universal frame, from countless unbeginning time, was ever still the same. Those mighty periods of years, which seemed to us so vast, appear no more before thy sight than yesterday that's past. Thou givest the word, thy creature man is to existence brought. Again thou sayest, ye sons of men, return ye into naught. Thou layest them, with all their cares, in everlasting sleep, as with a flood thou takest them off with overwhelming sweep. They flourish like the morning flower, in beauty's pride arrayed, but long ere night cut down it lies, all withered and decayed. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Ruined Maid by Thomas Hardy. Read for Librivox.org by Michael Dowling. O Amelia, my dear, this does everything crown. Who could have supposed I should meet you in town, and whence such fair garments, such prosperity? Oh, didn't you know I'd been ruined? Said she. You left us in tatters, without shoes or socks, tired of digging potatoes and spudding up docks, and now you've gay bracelets and bright feathers 3. Yes, that's how we dress when we're ruined, said she. At home in the barton you said thee and thou, and thicun and theseun and t'other, but now you're talking quite fitsy for high company. Some polish is gained with one's ruin, said she. Your hands were like paws then, your face blue and bleak, but now I'm bewitched by your delicate cheek, and your little gloves fit as on any lady. We never do work when we're ruined, said she. You used to call home life a hag-ridden dream, and you'd sigh and you'd sock, but at present you seem to know not of megrims or melancholy. True, one's pretty lively when ruined, said she. I wish I had feathers, a fine sweeping gown, and a delicate face, and could strut about town. My dear, a raw country girl such as you be cannot quite expect that. You ain't ruined, said she. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Voices of Unseen Spirits by Richard Hovey. Read for Librivox.org by Alma Molino. Here falls no light of sun nor stars, no stir nor striving here intrudes. No moan nor merry-making mars the quiet of these solitudes. Submerged in sleep, the passive soul is one with all the things that seem. Night blurs in one confused whole, alike the dreamer and the dream. O dwellers in the busy town, for dreams you smile, for dreams you weep, come out and lay your burdens down. Come out, there is no God but sleep. Sleep, and renounce the vital day, for evil is a child of life. Let be the will to live, and pray to find forgetfulness of strife. Beneath the thicket of these leaves, no light discriminates each from each. No self that wrongs, no self that grieves, hath longer deed, nor creed, nor speech. Sleep on the mighty mother's breast, sleep, and no more be separate. Then, one with nature's ageless rest, there shall be no more sin to hate. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
When You Are Old by W.B. Yeats. Read for Librivox.org by Ernst Patinama. July 26, 2008. Amsterdam, the Netherlands. When you are old and grey and full of sleep, and nodding by the fire, take down this book and slowly read, and dream of the soft look your eyes had once, and of their shadows deep. How many loved your moments of glad grace, and loved your beauty with love, false or true. But one man loved the pilgrim soul in you, and loved the sorrows of your changing face. And bending down beside the glowing bars, murmur, a little sadly, how love fled and paced upon the mountains overhead, and hid his face among a crowd of stars. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.